Hey everyone, it's Bella from Rio yet again, and I'm here to share another insight with you about the discovery of pleasurable wellness and kind of reconnecting body, mind, and spirit in one road of self-discovery. What I wanted to share with you is something that I actually leave to the very last. It's the last piece of the wellness puzzle that I've created in my Pleasurable Wellness course that's coming out hopefully in September. And the reason I want to share it with you now is because it's something that I think will be very helpful in the situation that we're currently facing in a lockdown. Unsure of what's happening and facing a lot of fear, anxiety, and many times panic. How do we deal with all that panic, frustration, and anxiety in the face of what's happening out there? So one of the things that really helped me about 2 years ago when I was kind of going through a crisis on that front, I would watch the news and get really frustrated with everything that was happening in the world, with people dying, children dying in Syria, and immigrants being locked up in the US, and the list is endless, and I couldn't cope with all of that stress, and I was really taking it at a very personal level. And that's when I met Sabrina Chavan, a really incredible human being and professional who has developed her own method called the Soul House method that she teaches in the presence training. And I really love that word presence because that's what she teaches. Instead of teaching us to the meditation, which never really worked for me. I've tried many techniques, but this idea of quieting the mind was never really something I was able to do because my mind is just really hyperactive. And I'm sure a lot of you have this issue. But she does it kind of the opposite way. She looks at, how to expand your presence, right? Expanding your presence and being aware of where you end and where other things that don't belong to you can be thrown away, things that don't serve you, and that method has worked so much better for me because I studied psychology in undergrad, and I remember reading this really cool book called I don't remember exactly the title, but it was about the white elephants. And when you try to not think about the white elephant, that's all you can think about because it's impossible not to think about it. So trying not to think about, not to think the certain thoughts, the thoughts that are causing us anxiety and fear is actually very counterproductive. So how do we develop this presence? Well, that's something that Sabrina is going to teach us on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Central Time at a live webinar. Webinars that I started last week to help us get through this, to help share all this knowledge that I've gained from all these incredible professionals. But what I do want to share with you today is that it actually goes back to our childhood. When we were sitting in our rooms and kind of creating these stories in our heads and using our imagination to travel to these distant lands and fairy tales, it's actually not that different. The tools that we need to use to stay calm and to create our own reality are very similar to that. So we'll be tapping into our imagination, our ability to understand what the emotions and feelings that we're experiencing are, why are they there, and how we can say, they are there, and I respect and understand why they're there, but they're not mine to carry. Taking that weight off your shoulders, and then being able to expand your presence and your energy levels to create your own reality, to create something that the vibration that you want to emanate at your, in yourself, in your family, and into the world. So that's what I wanted to invite you to do, is really to disconnect to reconnect. So the disconnecting part is pretty easy, and the reconnecting part really starts with, deep breathing, and then all the tools that I've talked to you about, the grounding and imagination, and things that we will be learning about with Sabrina this Wednesday afternoon. Please join us. I really look forward to seeing you, and I'm certain that you will take something really meaningful out of this webinar for these really challenging times.